All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to PRL Season 8, round number 11 for the Tier 2 drivers. We are racing at the lovely Portugal circuit here. I don't remember the name of the track, but that's not important. What's important is watching these 10 drivers take on this fun but relatively tricky circuit. I did the first two races, and I mean, I liked the track more than I thought it would. I would, but I will not deny that this track can catch you out very quickly. So, before we get into everyone's flying laps, I do not have the updated standings for France for Tier 1. But I do believe that Timgra won that race. And Hines did not race. So Timgra took a 51-point lead. And I do believe Hines is not racing this race either. So the AlphaTauri driver, Mr. Timgra, I don't think he can clinch today, but he basically can. If he wins today and gets 50-ish points, if he gets pole or if he gets fastest lap, he will be up 101 points with 2 races to go. So, I mean, he wouldn't, technically clinch it, but, I mean, it would basically be there. So, we're going to stay on board with the AlphaTauri driver, your championship leader for Tier 2. And, he did the Tier 1 race. He was in the Tier 1 race with me. Drove a pretty great race. First race I think he's done in Tier 1. And, I mean, I think he finished P5. He was P3 on track. Had a couple of penalties, but let's see if he's going to learn his lesson. And, yeah, we'll see if Timra is able to not clinch the championship, but get pretty damn close. However, nothing is set in stone, because this man right here, Jimmy Pullip, has been contending with the top 2 of Hines and Timger ever since he joined the league. So it's not going to be an easy just walk in the park W for our AlphaTauri driver here. So strap in. Let's see what kind of lap Timger puts on his first lap. He's going to have the experience of just driving Tier 1. So he's going to have a nice feel for the track, and it looks like it's going to be a low 117, a 117.5 for the AlphaTauri driver. That's actually a really competitive lap, because I think the pole position lap for Tier 1 was a 117.0 set by yours truly. So 5/10 off pole in Tier 1, and he's in Tier 2. That's quite the lap. So we're gonna stay on board with Jimmy here. Oh, Jimmy backs out of his lap. Did not like the look of it. Tack Delta in the Williams, a 119.5. Now, surprisingly, Tack Delta and Northern Canuck both are very quick drivers. However, they haven't really been able to snag the amount of wins and podiums they would need to challenge for the Drivers' Championship. But if I look at the Constructors before we get France, I'm not sure what it is, they're only down 25 points, not including France. And both of the Williams drivers are racing, and as you can see, Northern Canuck, a 117.7, 2/10 off Timgra, and Tack Delta, I mean, a 119.5, but I'm sure the numbers are going to bump up and get a lot closer. So Williams P2 and P5. They have a very solid chance of maybe snagging away the Constructors' Championship, because as much as Timgra has been dominant, unfortunately Tafer, his teammate, has missed quite a few races. So they haven't been able to maximize the amount of points they could both get. So that'll be an interesting tidbit to watch, just to see how well the Williams drivers do in this race and see if they can close the gap, because I don't remember where Northern Canuck and Tack Delta finished last race. Oh, a little bit of a traffic jam for Northern Canuck there. His teammate right in front of him. Looks like everyone's going into the pits, though. So, your first set of flying laps, also I forgot to mention, but only 10 drivers tonight. I do believe like 3 of them are serving race bans. So, not a very big field, but lots of potential points for everyone racing. Now, it's big for constructors, mainly for McLaren, Mercedes, and Williams, because those 3 teams have all 2 of their drivers. So, they could make some pretty solid inroads in the constructors. I do want to see, where is McLaren? So McLaren is down the order in 8th. However, if both of them finish the race, they're only 30 points back of P6, which is the Haas drivers. Dookie Hoser is here. And only 55 points off Ferrari in P5. The gap to P4 is a bit too high, but, you know, some inroads can be made for McLaren. Same for Mercedes. Mercedes are P7, and they're only 10 points up on McLaren. So this is going to be... It's shaping up to be more of a constructors fight, this race, compared to a real drivers' championship. Because, unfortunately, Heinz... I mean, if you look at Heinz's track record, P2 in Great Britain, P10 in Austria with fastest lap. Azerbaijan, he won. Saudi Arabia, P2 fastest lap. USA, P1. Brazil, P2 fastest lap. Crashed out in, I believe, Coda. Didn't race Spain. Won in Belgium. DNF'd in Monaco. And he wasn't there for France or Portugal. So, Heinz, I mean, if Heinz showed up to every race, I think this would be a much different championship battle between him and Timgra, but unfortunately, he hasn't been able to show up to as many races as our said championship leader, who is actually about to start his second flying lap. So we'll stay on board with him. And let me bring up the chat just in case anyone says anything. Always gotta make sure. Actually, I forgot to tag everyone that the stream is up. How dare I miss such an important part of the stream? Because now everyone can come watch. Everyone, tier 2 is up. Send. Alright. Now that that's done, let's take a look at our man Timger. I didn't get to see his sector one time, so I'm not sure if he's up or down. But I can make a guess that if he was really down, he probably wouldn't be continuing this lap, so we'll stay on board. Oh, that could be a potential impeding by TAC Delta there. He wasn't able to get off the racing line as fast as he would have liked. Timgra kind of had to make some evasive maneuvers. But he's continuing the lap still, so he's liking what he's putting down. So I'm curious. I mean, I can't see him making any more ground. Yeah, he's coming into the pits. So either he was down at the start of the lap, maybe he had an incident, maybe TAC Delta really flubbed up his lap there, but unfortunate. But Timger will be able to go again very easily. I'm going to stay on board with Darth Crimson, the second Mercedes driver, who is up 0.3 on his time right now as we enter the penultimate corner, coming down to the very long, flying, full throttle right-hander. And we're going to see how much time Darth goes up on his time. Only 0.2 up, so he lost time in Sector 3, but he made up overall 2.5, so not bad, not bad. I do believe I was on board with him. TAC Delta started his lap not too long ago. He's about to enter the Sector 3 timing sheet. So we'll stay on board with him and see how much the Williams driver is up. Crosses the line. Ooh, he's 0.2 down, or 2 seconds, and he goes off track there. So I think that is an abort for the Williams driver. Camo Banana will stay on board with him. He's the nearest driver to Tac Delta, and he's on a flying lap. He was up 1/10 according to the timing sheet. What will the second timing sheet say? Up 2.5 tenths. That would put him ahead of Jimmy and very close to Dutch. Coming through the third final corner, entering the final corner. Full throttle. Don't let up any throttle through this corner. Here he comes. Just runs out of DRS. What's it going to be? Up 4 tenths. That's P3 for Camo Banana. Jump Sparkplug and Dutch. Very big improvement on that Sector 3 timing, so he's going to be happy with himself. Dookie Hoser is on his out lap. He invalidated the lap prior, so he's going to be starting his lap, and I do believe the McLaren of Sparkplug just started his lap. He is down a lot of ERS, though. I know you have to use it basically all on the front straight, but starting the lap with basically 50%, I don't think he's going to have enough, and there's a big spin for Sparkplug. No damage, no DNF, but that tricky turn 4, if you get it wrong, your car's going around. Sparkplug manages to save it, gets out of the way of Dookie Hoser, who is on the medium tire. He is on the medium tire. Interesting. I don't know why people go on the medium tire. I feel like you would want both of your medium tires for the race, no? Oh, maybe they're just having some fun. Yes, if anyone is watching this stream who is actually in the race, if you do get a podium position, I will be doing interviews today, and when you do join the party, make sure that your party chat audio is set to share, so when you speak in the party chat, everyone will be able to hear you. So who can I take a look here? Am I going to take a look at Jimmy? Jimmy's down a second. Dookie is just starting his lap. Sparkplug had his spin. I think Grayson is about to finish his lap. We'll stay on board with him. Although this is not going to look like a great lap. I mean, he gained 2 tenths, but he's, 2 seconds off the pace from P9, so I'm sure Grayson's going to want to at least get a bit closer than that. And that is everyone else in the pits. So after our second wave of flying laps, Timgra P1, Northern Canuck P2, Camo P3, Sparkplug P4, Dutch P5, Jimmy P6, Dookie Hoser P7, Tac Delta P8, Darth, Crimson P9, and Grayson rounds out the field as we wait for all of our drivers to go out for their third and final flying lap. Will some drivers stay in the pits and save a pair of softs? I think the medium soft is a very, very strong strategy here, so if people are thinking about it, not a bad idea. That is my upset cat. Don't mind him. So for those in the chat and are a little bit bored, how are we feeling? I'm sure most of the people watching have done their Tier 1 Prem races, so if anyone's watching who did their races, let me know how it went. Because, my Tier 2 race, or my Tier 1 race, not to brag, but I won by 20 seconds, so that's always a good pat on the shoulder. And, the Prem race was pretty fun as well. Finished P2 on track, got 11 seconds of penalty, so got P3, but still a very good learning experience. It basically showed me that medium soft was basically the ideal tire strat. Now that is the the time Jason wants to put up. Entering Sector 1, or 2, he's already up 4 tenths. So that is the kind of time interval that Grayson needs to put down to try and get closer to Darth in P9. So how much time is Grayson going to make up here? He's got a Haas chasing him down, Dookie Hoser, who's on his out lap. Oh, and that is an invalidation for Flying Grayson. Cuts the corner a little too much. All 4 tires off track. That is a invalidation. So, Dookie Hoser is our closest driver to start his lap. We'll stay on board with him as he enters the flying right-hander to end this lap. Or end lap, start lap. Here he goes. Here you can see the difference where Sparkplug started his lap at 50%, Dookie Hoser's at 70%. Because you will run out of ERS at the end of the lap. We've already seen it in this stream, but you will get to under 10% before you cross the line if you start your ERS a bit too early. Dookie Hoser entering Sector 2 and invalidates that tricky Turn 4. Once again, catches out another driver. Darth Crimson is our next driver to start a lap. He will be our onboard in the Mercedes. A little bit of a slow exit there. Keeps it nice and tight coming out of that Turn 4, though. Up 6/10. That's the kind of improvement Crimson wants to see. That will put him ahead of Dookie Hoser and only 4/10 down from Jimmy Pull-Up, his teammate. And that's only the first sector. So what can Darth put coming to the Sector 3 timing sheet in a couple of corners? Looked like there was a McLaren off track there. I do believe that was Grayson. Here's the timing sheet. 6/10. Not a big gain. I think he was just already up 6/10 at the end of the first sector. So not as much time through Sector 2. Let's see if he can make up any time through Sector 3. I'm sure he's trying to gun for probably a second improvement here. Coming to the line, almost 7/10. So that puts him right behind his teammate and right ahead of the Haas of Dookie Hoser. So who do we want to go on board with? This is Grayson coming into the pit. So who's the next driver? It looks like the Aston Martin of Camo Banana, up 1/10 according to the timing sheet. I always say it, don't trust it. What kind of lap is he going to put in? 117? Oh, just a 118.0. Doesn't improve, but gives himself a nice little gap to Sparkplug, who is down on his time. I do believe a Williams just crossed the line. TAC Delta. Northern Canuck did not come out. He is sticking with 2 flying lap runs, so he is going to have another set of soft tires at the end of this race. Sparkplug crosses the line, does not improve. He will stay P4, so the only drivers left on track are Dookie Hoser, who's up 2/10. Up 5/10, jumps Darth Crimson. Crimson is down 8/10 according to the timing sheet, so our last driver to cross the line is Timgra, who is down 5/10. Made a mistake on the final lap, got more pace. Good stuff. I love to see it, Camo. And Timgra backs out. So Timgra, unfortunately, uses 3 sets of soft tires, but his first set was the one that gave him pole position. So Timgra, looking back on that, is probably not going to be super happy about it, but, I mean, he had to give it a go every time. That's an understandable choice. But here is your final order starting the Portuguese Grand Prix. Timgra and the AlphaTauri will start P1, Northern Canuck P2, Camo Banana P3, Sparkplug P4, Dutch P5, Jimmy P6, Dookie Hoser P7, Darth Crimson P8, TAC Delta P9, and Flying Grayson P10. I do believe that Dutch did not use another set of soft tires as well. So we'll keep an eye on Canuck and Dutch, who may be going for the medium soft strategy here, which would not be a bad decision. But here is your official final ordering, and yeah. Lots of Canadians in this field. 5 out of the 10 are Canadians, so the Canadians are taking over this race. So can anyone from a different nationality beat them out? We already got Timgra, we already got Camo, we got Jimmy, we got TAC. I'm not sure what Grayson's nationality is, but yeah. So this is going to be an exciting race. I don't know about you guys, but Portugal racing is actually relatively close, and it's that final straight leads to some fun battles coming into Sector 1. So, yeah. Any predictions? Any predictions? Oh man, I hate doing predictions. I had some pretty bad commentators' curses when I last commentated 2 races ago, so I don't know. I mean, you know what? I'm going to go Northern Canuck wins the race. I think Timgro will come home P2. And I think Camo will stay P3. If there's no safety cars, I'm not predicting safety cars, I'm not predicting crashes. I'd love for everyone to finish the race. Everyone getting points. Well, everyone gets points anyway, but everyone gets very good points. So that'd be true. The clouds are pretty, they're pretty here. I'm wondering, is there rain in the forecast? Because Tier 1 and Prim didn't have any. Let me just ask Canuck real quick if he's paying attention. But yeah, looks like we may get some rain if the clouds are anything to go off by. So yeah, that will obviously drive a wrench in everyone's plans. Because, I mean, of course, if it rains. So Camo's informed me no rain in the forecast. Alright, so it's just a cloudy day in Portugal. Understandable. So while we wait for the boys to get their setups, obviously who's ever watching who doesn't race in the league, Formation Lap is off due to the ever-growing amount of bugs in this game, unfortunately. And I think that's the only thing off. Our safety cars are reduced, so a safety car doesn't come out for quite literally everything. And that's basically all you need to know, because we'll be going racing very, very shortly. And also for the drivers, obviously, it's very known, but Portugal does have some very tricky time or track limits. So I expect to see some penalties. I mean, look, Timgro had, I think, 9 in the Tier 1 race. I had 11 in the Prim race. So then again, I've noticed if people reserved, they have a lot of penalties, but when they race in their own tier, they tend to get maybe 1 or none. So if Timgro follows that weird chain, then maybe he will be lucky as well. 5 lights. And we are away for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Let me get all these things up real quick. Timgro, great launch. Gets away from Northern Canuck. Sparkplug and Camel Banana side by side. No contact. Tack Delta goes around. Dookie Hoser loses his whole front wing due to having nowhere to go. Tack Delta, no damage. Does Crimson have damage? No, he does not. So unfortunately, Dookie Hoser, from no fault of his own, has lost a complete front wing, and I think he started on the hard. I mean, he didn't start on the hard, so I mean, there's that. It's not a complete disaster, but we go to the front of the field. Timgro has actually started on the soft tire. I think he did that in the Tier 1 race as well. Northern Canuck, Camel Banana, and Sparkplug all on the medium tire. Jimmy started on the softs, Dutch on the mediums. Grayson on the hards, Dookie, as we mentioned earlier, on the mediums, Crimson on the hards, and Tack Delta on the mediums. So right now, the field is kind of split right up the middle. P6 and up is within 2 seconds of each other, and then 4 seconds down is Grayson. So, unfortunate. Timgro setting the fast lap of the race. That will change by the end of the race. I can guarantee that. I tell you what, Canuck is showing some pretty solid pace right now. He's on the medium tires, and he's not really letting Timger get away. Camo Banana, neither. Sparkplug's very close. Jimmy's close. Dutch is very close, so it's nice to see that the field is very close, and Dutch is actually getting a really good run here on Jimmy. I actually did notice Jimmy does have damage. His left front end plate is completely gone. So Dutch is going to have some pace advantage here. He's going to want to take advantage of it as soon as he can because he does not want to fall out of DRS of the rest of the field. Because trust me, if you fall out of DRS, it's very hard to actually get back in it. So we jump back to the front of the field. Timgra is very close to getting Northern Canuck out of his DRS. He is. It's ranging between 1 second to 1.5. Jackie cheering on his boy. I love to see it. I mean, I feel like Jimmy's got to be forced to pit here, right? I mean, he's lost a complete front end plate. He's losing pace. Oh, no. And that is not gonna, I mean, not much you can do there. Dutch was trying to go around the inside, and Jimmy was trying to pit. So, no harm, no foul. No one died, no one crashed. Keep racing, but unfortunately, I mean, Dutch can make up that gap, 1.8 seconds to Sparkplug. If he's got a little bit of pace in the tank, he's gonna want to use it. Camo is very close to Canuck within DRS. Sparkplug, very close. So right now, I mean, looking like a good day for McLaren and the constructors as we stand, but obviously very early in the race. As we enter Sector 2, the gaps aren't changing too much. Dookie has just passed Tac Delta. Tac Delta has just pitted, I believe, for the fresh hard tire. I don't believe he had damage, though, so I think he just decided to go on the hards early. Maybe hope for a safety car later on. Jimmy has come back onto the soft tire. Track limits is ridiculous here, Jackie. You think you take the corner properly, and then it's like, oh, that's a warning. Oh, there's another one, and then one more, and like, all right, that's a penalty. Cool. Yeah, the track limits here are very tricky. It's a very fast-flowing circuit, but because of that, if you mess up a line once, you're going to get track limits because you can't really adjust the car to like get it saved before you go off track. So it's very difficult to stop yourself from getting track limits. But looking at the gaps here, Northern Canuck, Camo Banana, 2 seconds off Timgra as we speak. Camo staying very close to Canuck. Sparkplug has kind of fallen out of the DRS of those two. Dutch has made up 5/10 since we last mentioned it, 1.3 down from Sparkplug. So we'll keep an eye on that battle, and we have a very close battle here between Grayson and Crimson. Both started the race on the hards. Now, they are not 14 seconds back due to them being just slower than everyone else. They were caught up in a little bit of an incident at the start of the race, so this is not very showing of their pace, but I think hard-soft isn't it's not a bad choice. I mean, Timgra has looked pretty unbeatable the past couple of races, Jackie, I won't lie, but I think he's on the overall worst strategy. I think starting medium-soft, or going medium-soft, is overall better than soft-medium, because, yeah, you're going to get away early on in the race, but the softs are so strong at the end of the race that if Canuck is able to, maybe get closer, like by lap 10, the softs are not going to be as good as the mediums. And there you can see that was probably track limits for Timgra, and that could have been another one. So Timgra, I mean, of course, everyone's got to watch track limits as well, but I'm actually pretty impressed. Lap 5, no penalties already. That's going to be a commentator's curse. I know that. It's going to be like 15 seconds from now someone's going to get a penalty, but we'll ignore that. So as you can even see, Timgra's gap is slowly closing. It was at 2.5, and now it's just under 2 seconds. The softs should still be the faster tire. I think till lap 7 or 8 is where they start to equalize. Lap 10 is where the mediums take over. And then I think lap 15 is where the hards would take over the mediums. So, I mean, Timgra has done an important thing. He has gotten Canuck out of his DRS. But it's not doing much. Because, I mean, Canuck has stayed within 2 seconds, and Camo isn't able to make use of his DRS on Northern Canuck to actually get by. As I say that, no, a little too far back. You didn't see qualifying? Quick summary. Timgra qualified pole with his first set of tires and then was unable to improve with the other 2 sets of tires he had, but he was still able to keep pole position. That showed how strong his pace was. And I don't think there's been many position changes. Yep, the top 5 are all where they qualified, and Crimson and Grayson have gained a couple of positions. Jimmy, Dookie, and Tack have all lost due to their little incident at the start of the race. So yeah, nothing too crazy so far. Camo Banana does look like he has a really good run here. Camo has not used any ERS, where Canuck is at half. But they may be playing the team game here a little bit. Never mind, Camo's going for it. No, he's not. So it looks like these guys are playing... They're playing the long game here, because Timgra, he's not... I mean, he's losing a little bit of time here or there, a tenth a lap, 2/10 a lap here. But it's not the end-all be-all, and here goes Camo Banana actually gets by Northern Canuck. There's no issue with these two passing each other, as long as they do it where they don't lose time. Then, if Camo is the faster driver right now and Canuck isn't, this is just going to help both of them. Because Camo is going to be able to drag someone who can use DRS and get by. And they can just keep swapping DRSs if they're close on pace. We do, actually. I missed the pass, but Dutch is past Sparkplug. I do believe he did that this lap. Yeah, Canuck has had a very... I think I mentioned it last race, but Canuck has had a very consistent season. If I look at the standings quick, because I don't think there's any immediate battles. So if I take a look at the standings... Yeah, look at this. P3, P6, DNF'd at Azerbaijan, didn't race Saudi Arabia or Coda. P3 Brazil, P3 at Vegas, P3 at Spain, P4 at Belgium, P4 at Monaco. I don't know where he finished at France, but I still think he got a podium. So he's only finished outside the top 5 once, and that was a P6, and every other result has been a P3 or a P4. So he is a very big contributor to the Williams team as to why they are still in the Constructors' Championship, because the man is just very consistent. And as I mentioned, lap 7, lap 8, the mediums are going to start taking over the softs here, and it looks like that is coming to fruition. Northern Canuck is out of DRS of Camo. Camo is getting within that 1 second gap of Timgra, and it looks like he may be able to get it this lap. Through the penultimate corner they go. Banana will not have DRS this lap, but he will have it next lap. Yep, bumping that overtake just a little bit, just to get a little bit closer. Now, I'm not sure what Dutch's pace is like here, but is he catching Canuck? Because he was racing Sparkplug for a while, so I'm curious if he's actually catching Canuck a little bit here. The pace seems to be pretty even, so I don't think he is. And a big gap from Sparkplug to Crimson. But everyone from P6 under has already made a pit stop. As you can see, the gaps between them are all quite large. Take a look at the ERS situation. Everyone's hovering around 50, Sparkplug's at 40, Jimmy's down a lot at 20, Dookie's at 40, Tac Delta, we catch him going wide here. He's actually low on fuel as well. That yellow little icon will highlight that he's under the allocated fuel to make the end of the race. So we'll see what happens with Tac. Tac Delta, obviously your winner at Monaco 2 races ago. I do believe that was his first ever league win. And obviously helped Williams and the constructors a lot as well. So Timgra has burned quite a bit of ERS, but he's still out of the DRS of Camo. I think what Timgra's going for here is he wants to use as much as the life of the softs as he can, and then when they die, then he can allow Camo into DRS, just so he's not getting DRS early and negating the advantage of his softs. Time is fluctuating a little bit. Timker was down 9/10, and now he's down 1.1, so I'm not sure why it's being so funky. Dutch is down 4/10 from the last we saw him, so him and Canuck are about equal. Sparkplug is actually almost out of ERS. I do believe Jimmy is making time on Grayson here, so we'll keep an eye on that. But I do believe Timgra will be in on lap 12 or 13, is my guess. Are you not having a good season, Jackie? Yeah, I mean, every race you've finished, you've been P10 or higher, so just you haven't been able to race a lot of races, and you haven't been able to finish a lot of races. So I think your pace is a little bit quicker than what your points would highlight. So what we may see here is, because Camo's pace is kind of equalized to Timgra, but I have noticed that Camo makes up a lot of time through Sector 2, Sector 3, whereas Timgra gains a lot of time on the straight. So Timgra may be using a lower downforce setup. I mean, you could see there, had a big snap of oversteer, and Camo Banana is right there. This is a great camera angle, by the way. We'll love these helicopter shots. As you can see, Timgra doesn't use a lot of his ERS. Camo's gonna get the pass done. Oh, a little bit of a love tap there between Camo and Timgra. But Camo Banana makes the pass. He is P1, but he has burned all of his ERS down to 10%. He was up to 50 2 laps ago. Canuck not far behind this group, only 2.9 seconds. Still has a good chunk of ERS left. You can see Dutch is actually under the allocated fuel as well as Tac Delta. So without a safety car, they are going to have to lift and coast a little bit. But of course, Dutch doesn't want to do that because he's trying to catch Northern Canuck to his best of his abilities. And I just noticed Jimmy pull up, no ERS, trying to make the move on Grayson. Grayson has 50% ERS. He is well and truly safe, but Jimmy's going to make the move, and that is good on Jimmy for slowing down and letting him by, but that was just a bit of an ambitious move from the Mercedes driver. Tags the side of Grayson, turns him around, but lets him by, so no harm, no foul. The gap between Grayson and Crimson is still quite large, so I don't think there's any harm or foul there. So we jump to the back to the lead. Timgra has been able to stay within DRS of Camo. I'm sure those softs are not feeling too great right now. But by lap 14 or 15, I think Timgra's going to come in and throw on the hards for the rest, or not hards, mediums for the rest of the race. Canuck is dropping a little bit of time each lap to them, and so is Dutch to Canuck. Sparkplug, I think, has stayed around the same gap. Maybe, I think he was at 5 seconds. Oh, big snap over steer for Sparkplug there as we were on board with him. Owen Grayson once again defending from Jimmy, same corner, no contact this time. Those hards should be better. What a pass from Jimmy around the outside. That is a very difficult maneuver, and he made it work. Finally gets around the McLaren driver, and I guess his next sights are on his teammate of Darth Crimson. Well, I usually like to do this while there's a little bit more of a gap, but why don't we turn off the filters? I can shut up for a little bit, and we can see the battle unfold between Timgra and Camo Banana with the full screen. That was a beautiful lap that we just saw, but Camo Banana, not really a commentator's curse since I said it at like lap 5, but Camo Banana finally the first driver to get a track limits penalty. So that is going to hurt him at the end of the race. He's on the better strategy to Timgra as we're speaking right now. Timgra has gone relatively long on the softs, but he has been able to stay within Camo Banana's DRS. However, that 3 seconds is gonna hurt because he's gonna have to make a gap between him and Timgra. Timgra is gonna end up pitting before him, so he's gonna get the undercut. And as I say that, Jimmy Pull-Up, next car to come in, I think he's gonna go on the mediums. Yes, he is. Good pit decision by him. That does put him P9, but relatively well ahead of TAC Delta. And there it is, Timgra into the pits. Northern Canuck looked like he wanted to follow him. Timgra gets the car stopped just in time. That looked like it looked close. I won't deny that looked close. But now, Northern Canuck is your P2 driver. Dutch will also get by Timgra. And now, is Northern Canuck's pace similar to Camo's? Is he a bit faster now? Is he a bit slower? Not sure. It's ranging between 4.4 and 4.2, as we've been saying. He does have his teammate in front of him, but his teammate is now a lap down. So that will be a relatively let by his teammate. Yeah, it's ranging between 4.4 and 4.6. So I think at the end of the day, If Canuck can get the undercut here, maybe lap 19, maybe lap 18, and try and gain a bunch of time on Camo Banana, gets the tires warmed up a bit earlier, maybe he can close the gap to Camo and fight with him and Timgra. As of right now, Timgra does have the undercut advantage right now, because obviously he pitted well before them, and he's going to have some fresh tire advantage. And honestly, the mediums will still be... at the end of the race, the mediums will probably be the better tire. So... oh, and Camo Banana actually comes in a little early, goes for the undercut. So he'll be running these... oh, he puts on the hards. So Camo did not save an extra set of softs, so that's actually going to hurt him at the end of the day. Dookie Hoser, your other driver, to get a 3-second time penalty. He may have had a little bit of an incident. That's why he got it. Yeah, that is unfortunate for Camo Banana, and now he's under pressure on cold hards, while Timgra is on fresh mediums who are ready to cook. This is going to be a very hard defend for Camo Banana, and of course he's got the 3-second time penalty. So unfortunately for Camo, this is going to be a very hard defend, but the car should be faster at the end of the race. So if he can stay close, if he can stay ahead, that would be fantastic for him. TAC Delta, the next driver to succumb to the Portuguese track limits, he's got a 3-second time penalty as well. But considering his gap to Jimmy Pullup, I don't think he's too fussed about that. And Jimmy Pullup does set the fastest lap of the race. He's got 0 ERS right now. Interesting. Timgra actually has a really good opportunity to get by Camo here and start his fastest lap attempt with a very good DRS pull. He's not even going to use much of his overtake here. He's going to turn it on now. Going to be a pretty easy pass for the AlphaTauri driver, and now he is back ahead. He's 11 seconds back of Dutch and Northern Canuck. I think Northern Canuck and Dutch... oh, as I say that, Dutch has a moment coming out of, I think that's turn 5, and Dutch has left the session. So I think Dutch's AI may have had a little bit... he may have had a little bit of an incident because he lagged out. I do have Dutch as a friend. Can I get him in the lobby? No, I cannot. That is unfortunate. Hopefully Dutch gets back into the lobby relatively soon. Because this is just losing him precious time now to Canuck, and obviously his AI is going to be very slow. Canuck is into the pits. He is going for the medium-soft strategy that's going to be the advantage at the end of the race. He's going to have really good pace here. But he is going to have to catch Timgra. And Dutch actually makes the pass for... or actually goes into the pits for Dutch. So it's Camo Banana in P2, Timgra P1, and Northern Canuck comes out. He's relatively far back. That's a pretty sizable gap. Yep, 7-ish seconds back of Camo Banana. Oh, and Canuck has gone onto the hard, so none of them have saved a soft pair. Interesting. I thought... because Canuck pitted late, so I'm surprised that he went onto the hards. Huh. Because I don't remember him going for a third run either. So, did he save them for maybe a safety car? I think it would have been a good idea to use them there. Dutch is onto the medium tire. I believe Dutch started on the hards. Oh no, Dutch started on the mediums too, no? Oh boy. It does look like Dutch is back in though. But he's on mediums, and I swear he started on mediums as well. I could be wrong. Maybe he started on the hards. We'll have to see at the end of the race because I don't think I can actually check what tires they have put on. But as we stand with 14 laps to go, this is looking pretty good for the AlphaTauri of Timgra. He's up on Camo Banana. He's got the faster tire. He's nearest racer has a 3-second time penalty. And the next driver without one is 10 seconds back. We'll check. Here's your fastest lap as we stand. Jimmy Pull-Up does still have the fastest lap. Timgra might be able to snag it. No. So as we stand, Jimmy does have that extra fastest lap point. And as I say that, Dutch, who's come back from lagging out, sets the fastest lap of the race. He's only 3 seconds back of Sparkplug. But I do believe Sparkplug pitted way earlier. Not way earlier, 2 laps prior. But he's on the much slower tire. as we come back, apologies for the break. Oh, we do have a little spin for Mercedes just in front of the leaders here. Darth Crimson just gets lapped. And I do believe that Camel Banana has picked up 6 seconds of time penalties now. So while his gap to Timgra on track has not changed, his time limit at the end of the race will definitely be different. And this gives Northern Canuck a relatively good chance to catch Camo. The only issue is he doesn't have DRS, and DRS is very big here. And obviously to the people watching, apologies for the not so talkative me. I do have a little bit of a headache, and I mean, as you can see from the gaps, it's not, I mean, there's not a crazy amount to talk about right now. So if anyone's watching who wants to start a conversation about something while we're watching the boys race here, by all means. Tell you what, this is probably the best battle we've seen so far. Dookie Hoser trying to unlap himself from Camo. I will say, I do like Camel Banana's helmet. I am a fan of helmets that match the livery of the car. I basically do that with all of my liveries. I find it just looks real slick. So definitely hats off to Camel Banana for that design. I do believe Timgra has done it as well, if I remember correctly. Yes, he has. I like that. On my helmet, I have a little bit more red. But Timgra seemed to have gone a little bit more white and the dark blue that AlphaTauri has. Why don't we take a look at Northern Canucks' helmet? Canucks got a little bit more of a white and gold helmet. Shades of a Max Verstappen. Sparkplug Racing, his teammate, technically, not really. I think Sparkplug looks like he's got a light blue helmet. Okay, yeah, that matches the car. A light blue and an orange. Very nice. Dutch is rocking a full red helmet. Not a bad look due to the Red Bull's red coloring. I think Jimmy's got like a gold, white, and blue helmet. He does. Nice look. Dookie's helmet is going to be... Okay, I think Dookie's got the base helmet. He does. Yellow one. Ooh, crimson. I like that. All black with the light blue of the Merc. Very, very nice. Grayson, I believe, has black and orange. Dookie Hoser... Oh no, blue and yellow. Alright. Dookie Hoser picks up another 3-second time penalty. That won't cost him much because he already had a 3-second. He's down 3 seconds to Crimson, so it's not really going to affect him too much at the end of the day. And I believe Tac Delta... Oh, and Dutch gets a 3-second time penalty. That's not really going to affect him much. I just realized Dutch actually pitted, so he's probably going for fastest lap. Or he did go for fastest lap. I think he has it. Let me look. Yes, he does. 119.6, the only driver in the 119s for this race. Oh, let's not have it on leader. It's a bit glitchy. Have it on interval. And yeah, that was everyone's helmet. Great designs by basically everyone. Love to see it. And we are on nearing the 4th lap of the race left. Hasn't been a crazy action-packed, adventure-based race that we had at Monaco. But it's been pretty enjoyable. We had some solid racing at the start. Everyone kind of got split up. But, I mean, Camo Banana and Timgra have both been very close to each other, basically the whole race. But Camo does seem to be falling off a little bit. And Canuck is making up a little bit of ground on him. He's at 6 seconds of penalties? Yeah. So he's still got that 2.6 second safety net. But if Canuck starts to build more time on him, he might be able to catch him for P2. So that'll be up to Canuck to see if he can put in a lot of pace. You know, while I'll get myself ready for the interviews. So what I'll do, do I stay in the PRL chat? When Sparkplug gets a 3-second time penalty, that won't really affect him at the end of the race either. While I get the interviews ready, I would like to set up my own party chat for it. Can I... Here we go. There we go, open party, player limit 16. Alright. So, barring any crashes or DNFs, this is going to be your top three. Timgren P1, Camo Banana P2, and Northern Canuck P3. If nothing else changes, cross your fingers, hope to die, knock on wood. Actually, whoever's watching and wants to actually ask questions to the drivers as well, if you want to have any question suggestions, I will take them and ask them if it's a good question. So if anyone wants to do that, send the questions into the Twitch chat, and I'll read them, and I'll see if they're worth talking to the drivers as we enter our third final lap. Oh, and TAC Delta 2 laps away from finishing the race, and we have our first DNF. But he has finished 30% of the race, or 30%, 90% of the race. So TAC Delta will actually get all of his points still, so that's good to hear. Unfortunate that he wasn't able to finish it on his own leg, but stuff happens. About to start our second final lap. Or our second last lap, not final lap. That doesn't make grammatical sense. And the Northern Canuck does seem to have dropped a little bit out of pace of Camo Banana, so I do believe Camo Banana is going to come home with P2 if nothing else changes. Sparkplug's had a relatively lonely but solid race. He's been P4 basically the whole race. He was fighting Dutch a little bit here and there. I know Dutch pitted for fastest lap. I think Dutch wanted to pit for softs, if I'm correct, because he did switch to the softs like right after his AI pitted for the mediums. So I think that was his original plan. So that's unfortunate for him. Could have been a potential P5. Let me just make sure. Okay, they both have 3 seconds, so nothing will change there. And we have started our final lap. Timgra does get his first penalty of the race, 3-second time penalty, but that will not affect him much because the man in P2 right there has 6 seconds. So no harm, no foul for the AlphaTauri driver. Actually, Timgra may have been correct about... I don't think he's going to clinch, but he's like very close because I think even if you get P20, you get 1 point. And he's going to be up 101 points. So yeah, the only way Hines can take the championship is if he wins both races and gets fastest lap or pole in either of them. And Timgra doesn't show up for one of the races, because even if he shows up and finishes last, he would win. And Timgra with the sides, that is your Tier 2 Portuguese winner. Timgra in the AlphaTauri, Camo Banana, happy spins for him. P2 in the Aston Martin. And Northern Canuck crossing the line. No battery left, no fuel left. That is P3 for the Williams driver, and we're going to have to wait just a little while longer for Sparkplug. Sparkplug's a little bit further back than everybody, at least in the top 3. Dutch is relatively close. Dutch, tell you what, if Dutch had like maybe a lap or 2 extra, he might have been able to catch Sparkplug. He was at 7 seconds like 2 laps ago. So that would have been a fun battle. Sparkplug takes home P4, Dutch P5, great result for him. Jimmy pull up another 30 seconds up the road. He will be the last car to finish as everyone else was lapped. Let me take a look at the chat. The game didn't tell you about violations? Oh man. Yeah, I hate that too, Camo. Just write it down as another EA bug. And that was your final result. We almost finished with every driver. Technically, I mean, Tak's still going to get like the max amount of points he can get since he finished 90%. So, I guess we finished with everyone. Keyword, I guess. And there's your podium. The AlphaTauri of Timgra, Camo Banana in the Aston Martin, and Northern Canuck in the Williams is your podium. But don't go away just yet. We will be having some interviews with our podium. If people are allowed to, or people are actually able to join. I do have Canuck added. I don't have Timgra nor Camo Banana. No. Let me go look for you guys. Search players. So let's get Timgra. Here is a Northern Canuck, good man. Already had me as a friend, so he skips the annoying process of finding everyone. Where is Timgra? What's Timgra's name? Is it different? No, it's just Timgra. Interesting. Well, I'll make this easier for myself. I'm going to go to the PRL chat, because that should have everyone added in it. PRL chat. 38 drivers. Hopefully... Oh, I do have Camo Banana Ed as his friend. Interesting. Okay, where is Timgra? Timgra is not in the PRL chat. So let me invite Camo Banana at least to the party. Oh, man. Da. You guys can chat, by the way, while I figure this out. You don't have to stay silent. Well, haven't heard anything from Timgra, so... I am here. Canuck, can you hear me? Am I not speaking?
I can hear you, Gord. I can hear you.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. I was just checking to see what Timgra was up to, if he was joining or not.
Okay.
He is on PC.
PC. Yeah.
That changes things. Home. Because I think you have to go into a different setting to allow yourself to be heard on Discord.
Yes.
Ugh.
So maybe we do PlayStation party?
Yeah. I'll do PlayStation Party with you two, and then I'll see if Timger wants to hop into the Discord for his interview.
Awesome.
But all right, P3, Mr. Northern Canuck. I mentioned your consistency this season, and once again, another podium. It's like what is it? I was looking at it during the race. What is this? Like your fifth or sixth third position? 1, 2, 3, fifth. Good God, man. So, yeah, I mentioned it on stream that you haven't finished. Well, you DNF'd Azerbaijan, but every race that you've finished, apart from that one, you've gotten a P6, and now you've got... Where did you finish in France, by the way?
I think it was P2, last week.
Okay, so out of your... How many races is this? 2, 4, 6, 8. You've done 10. out of the 12. And you've gotten a podium 6 times and haven't finished outside P6 in the other 3, and then you have your DNF. So I mentioned on stream, it's like Canuck doesn't seem to have that outright just like raw pace that like Timgra or Hines does, but you haven't DNF'd apart from once, and every time you race, you're always at the front. So I mentioned that, like, yeah, everyone's kind of out of the championship contention, but you and TAC Delta are very much in it for the Constructors' Championship.
For sure. Yeah, and that's kind of what TAC and I are going for, consistency. I know TAC had some issues today with some floor damage, I believe he took off of an incident on...
He had floor damage, ooh.
Yes, so...
I was going to say, he was off the pace a little bit, and I know he's like a really quick driver. I mean, he won Monaco, so I was kind of confused on that one.
He's probably a little frustrated with the result today, but yeah, definitely I think constructors will go down to the wire. I think Timra and Taufer have put up amazing points, so it will be a battle, I think, with them for constructors, and it's great to see. I'm sure you'll get to him in the interview, but it's great to see Camo back full time because he's great to race with it on the track. Had a great race today.
Yeah, I was happy to see Camo out at the front, because I remember, I think when I started calming at the start of the season, he was always just like, oh, I kind of want to just maybe get into like P10s, get as high as I can and have as good results as I can. It's nice to see that you can see the season progress where like he started to get a bit faster, and then he took his break, and then he came back, and now he's getting P2s. So yeah, fantastic to see him up there. But yeah, another fantastic podium for you. Obviously, you and TAC are pushing for the Constructors right now. And, I mean, yeah, it's going to come close, because if Tafer doesn't show up to the next 2 races, I'm sure he will. But if he doesn't, it'll be 2 cars versus 1. And, I mean, hey, sure, if Timber keeps winning, it's going to be tough. But, I mean, TAC has shown he can win. You can show you can very much win if some of the top guys get a little bit of bad luck. So I'm not sure where TAC finished at France either, but I do know that up to, like, after Monaco, you guys were 25 points separated between AlphaTauri and Williams. So if you got P2, I assume he had a good result at France. I don't know. I know Timgra won. That I remember. But if he finished higher than Tafer, that's some points gain right there.
For sure. And again, I think, in all honesty, I think it's going to come down to Qatar.
The final race.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Which will add some excitement to the viewers. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Tier.
Yeah, because I don't think Timgra has clinched, but he's up 101 points on Hines now. And there's 2 races left. So I think the max amount of points you can get in a weekend is, 53? You get pulled, you win, and you get fastest lap. So Hines would have to get a 106 points difference in the next 2 races, which would mean that he's up 101, so there's the 5-point interval between that, and Timgra would have to finish last in every race if he starts. If he doesn't start, then he doesn't get any points. But if he starts and finishes last, let's say both races, which is not going to happen, but if it did, then Hines would still have to win the race, get pole and fastest lap in at least one of the races. So I'm not going to congratulate Timgra just yet, but it's getting there. It's very close. But yeah, thank you, Canuck, for the interview, of course. And now We'll jump to P2, Mr. Camo Banana. How are we feeling, my man? P2.
Yeah, obviously a very good result, but I think there could have been some improvements. Obviously, I said in the chat that the game glitched on me again, so
Yeah, what's new
I
with
feel I had
EA at
more
this point?
pace, but I just couldn't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed that you and Timgro basically were on the same pace. Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to ask both of you. I don't know if you guys watched the Tier 1 or Prem races, or if you kind of just were practicing on your own. But I wanted to ask mainly Canuck, because I know you, Camo, you pitted relatively early. I think you pitted like lap 15 and put on the hards, if I remember correctly. But Canuck, I know you came in on like lap 17, and I thought you were going to go for the medium soft strategy. But then I saw that you put on the hards, and I swear you saved an extra pair of softs too, because I think you only did 2 runs in quali.
I did. So my gamble there. So I saw Camo go in for the hards. I saw Timbra go in for the mediums. I'm quite surprised. All kudos goes out to Timbra. I don't know how he saved those softs for the amount that he did today, but great tire management. But I was really kind of banking on a late safety car, so I could maybe hop in for those softs, but wanted to do hards because I practice medium hard strategy, so thought why not just stick with it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because I was going to mention that, because when I did the Prem and Tier 1 race, the soft degradation was really, like, it really wasn't bad. Like, it actually felt really good. Like, he went, like, 16, 17 laps on those things, and it's like, he could have easily pitted lap 14 or 15 or even 13 and been completely fine.
For sure.
So I was just
something good to know for Portugal. Like, it's a track I don't think that gets a lot of attention. Like, I don't
see a lot of races here.
So, to me, I was really kind of not familiar with, what tires to put on. And
that's fair.
I wasn't really that comfortable with it. So, you know what? Give them hards. We're gonna run.
Yeah, for sure. I do think Dutch was the person that wanted to do medium soft, because he put on the softs after he got desynced, unfortunately, and his AI put on another pair of mediums, because I think he started on mediums, right?
Yes. So Dutch was in a party with myself and Tack and a few others, and let's say he's not the happiest camper right now. With
that's understandable.
He was about to go into pit, and it reset his pit strategy. So he was going to hop on the hards or maybe softs, and then it gave him the duplicate mediums. So he had to go in again.
That's not what you want to see. But I mean, hey, he still came P5, so good on him. And I think that's all the questions I have. I don't think anyone asked anything in the chat. Dutch just talking about his desync. Yeah, it happens to the best of us, Dutch. But you stuck with it. You kept your P5. You could have just not come back at all, but you came back, and Dutch almost caught Sparkplug at the end. So that would have been a fun battle if there was an extra 2 laps. But yeah, I think I'm gonna skip Timgro as much as I want to interview him, but I think going to Discord is tricky to get the settings so I can actually hear him. So for now, thank you once again, Camo Banana and Northern Canuck, for joining me on interviews. Hopefully this becomes a regularity when I stream, so I can hear the thoughts of the drivers. But that has been PRL Tier 2, Round 11 at Portugal. Stay tuned for... Actually, it's Round 12, not 11. That would mean there were 3 races left, but there are 2. And the 2 races left are Monza and Qatar. Qatar will be our season finale for every tier. So, obviously, come back next week for Prem Tier 1 and Tier 2 as they try and conquer the Temple of Speed. And then we go back to Qatar, which we haven't had in F1 in a couple years. So that will be a fun track to race. But once again, I have been Gord Sauce, your host. This has been Tier 2 PRL Season 8. And we will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.